Hi, this is the cello supplement for the Frere Jacques lesson from Essential Elements, number 88. If you have not watched the main video yet where I'm playing a violin, check in the video description for a link over to that video. There are some things I explain in that video that I am not going to go over again. This is just for the things that are specific to the cello. I'm going to start off just by playing through Frere Jacques, and there's a couple of things that I'd like for you to see. And I'm not doing the repeat because, again, this is really just about some things specific to the cello. If you would like to have a play-along to play the duet along, go back to the violin video, and at the end of that video, there's me playing the violin, and you can play the duet along with the violin part. First thing is that in the violin and viola book, Frere Jacques is a fourth finger song. In my classroom, cello players start using fourth fingers at the same time as the violin and viola players start using fourth fingers, so I would really like for you, instead of playing open A's all the way through this thing, to use fourth fingers at the same place that the violins do. So even though when you get to circle 2, it does not have marked in your book to shift, I would like you to go ahead and shift from first position into second position and play the circle 2 part like this. With 1 for F sharp, 2 for G, and 4 for A. I explained the rule about fourth fingers in the violin video, but I'll explain it here again. Generally speaking, if using fourth finger can keep you on the same string, then you should use fourth finger. So you have this FGA a couple of times in a row. You can do it all on the D string without having to cross strings, so go ahead and shift into second position to do it. One of the exercises that can really help you with your second position playing, and I'm going to demonstrate this for you because I do it in the violin video, but it's a little bit different on cello, is what's called a 5-finger exercise, or I call it a dexterity exercise, where you're just starting on the A and playing all of your notes down to the D and then going back to the A. It's going to sound like this on a cello with the shift between the E and the F sharp. Before you try to play Frere Jacques, take a minute and go through that exercise to make sure that you're really clean on that shift and you're keeping your fingers in place. The other thing that you should definitely do before playing Frere Jacques is to practice your D scale, because Frere Jacques is a D scale song. Always with the arpeggio, and you notice on the arpeggio I use a second position fingering, D, F sharp, A, crossing over to second finger for the high D, and then back to the A and down the arpeggio again. That just helps me get my second position in place. So one of the things you may have to practice when you're warming up on Frere Jacques and getting ready to play it is, when do you make your shift? And it can be a little confusing in this song. Where do I use a 3 for my F sharp? And where do I use a 1 for my F sharp? And the rule on that is, at the beginning, what is the next fingered note after the F sharp? I'm going back to the D, and then I've got an E again, so I don't want to shift. I want to use a 3 at the start, because my next note after that F sharp is E. So I don't want to be shifting, right? I want to shift when it's time for circle 2, because here I have an open D, I have time to make my shift, And there, after that F sharp, it's circle 2. My next two notes are G and A, so that puts me in place for those two notes. So I'm going to start 2 measures before circle 2. Make my shift. And then, at the beginning of the second line, I'm going to switch over to open A, make my shift back for the B. And why switch to open A at the beginning of the second line? Well, because you have to play the B. And since I have to use my A string anyway, that's the place to switch on over to the open A string, so I'm ready for the B. The next spot that gives people trouble in Frere Jacques is just getting that second line and getting those quick notes. And there are a couple of tricks to getting those quick notes, and it's one of the spots that gives kids trouble. And the main culprit is having the G finger ready to go across. So this is what happens. Look at where my pinky finger is. It's all the way over here. Am I going to be able to get it to that G tape in time to play that G note? The answer is not a chance. No way to get it. I've got to have my G finger hovering over the D string ready. And now it's very easy to get that G, and playing those fast notes is much easier. So this is what you may have to practice. Stop, my G finger is out of place. Put my G finger back in place and finish the phrase. Try it again. Put it in place, get it ready, and finish up. And just take a pause there each time and check to see what your G finger has done. So now I'm ready. After a few times, look at that. I've got my G finger in place. It's ready to play that G note. And now I can put that together. But the whole key to playing that quick part is having your G finger in place ahead of time before you need it. All right, so I hope this has been helpful for you. If you'd like to do a play along with the round, go back to the main video where I'm playing the violin and just play a duet with the violin part that's at the end of that video, and keep practicing.